So hello everybody, and welcome to this webinar on Retail Pro Prism. Retail Pro Prism is the newest addition to the Retail Pro family of products. My name is James McGibbon. I'm a training specialist here at Retail Pro University, and every once in a while I get to come and do these webinars, and I get to talk to you about Retail Pro Prism, or in 2 weeks we'll be doing another webinar on Retail Pro 9. So if you'd like to attend that one as well, please feel free to sign up after this webinar. The same way you signed up for this one, and you'll get an invitation for that, and we'll spend some time talking about Retail Pro 9 and the different features and benefits from that product. So anyway, thank you for joining us today to learn a little bit more about Retail Pro Prism. If you know nothing about Prism, then this webinar is a good high-level introduction to what it is. We're not going to get too deep, but we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the features and benefits of what Prism will bring. And by the end of the webinar, hopefully, everything will be really clear to you. And towards the end of the webinar, I'll have a short demo for you, so you get a chance to take a look at Retail Pro Prism, the point of sale module in action. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Here's a real quick technical reminder, just at the beginning. If you're joining the conference call using a telephone, you were asked to enter an audio PIN, which is unique to you on connection. If you did fail to do so at that time, it's not too late. You can do it now. Just type in the pound sign followed by your unique PIN, followed by the pound sign again, and you should be able to see the PIN on your control panel. If you've entered the audio PIN, that will allow you to ask questions at the end of the webinar. Otherwise, you'll be forced to type in your question using the questions or chat window. And if you join the conference via voice over IP, no audio pins needed. You just make sure you have a microphone in order to ask questions. That said, a lot of people usually like to use the chat function to ask their questions anyway. So, but like I said, during the webinar, what will happen is I'll just take you off of mute, and you can talk, and we can cover things. So before showing you the product, I want to take a few moments to talk about Retail Pro Prism at a really high level. So just to begin with, really shortly, what is Retail Pro Prism? Retail Pro Prism is a new family of products that's separate and distinct from the Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9 product lines. So if you're familiar with both of those products, Retail Pro Prism isn't like Retail Pro 10. This is a completely new product and a new direction. Specifically, though, let's talk about the different features that Retail Pro Prism will offer. To begin with, Retail Pro Prism is designed to be a completely modular platform. So for everybody who's familiar with Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9, you know that those products are fully integrated retail management solutions. You get everything out of the box: inventory management, purchasing, receiving, transfers, sales, customer management, and everything from tag printing to physical inventory to reports, everything. And for a lot of retailers, having everything out of the box is a really good thing. Just starting out and getting something new. If you have a fully integrated system, you can get up and going, and Retail Pro take care of all your needs. But on the other hand, some retailers may not need all of this functionality. You may have an existing ERP system that handles most of your back office and store operation needs, and you just want Retail Pro for its strong point of sale and customer management functionality. So, like I said, unlike Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9, Retail Pro Prism is designed to be modular. Part of this is to meet the needs of retailers who just don't need a full-blown integrated retail management solution. So with Prism, you can choose the modules. You have a point-of-sale module, a store operations module, a back-office module, e-commerce, business intelligence, and any other modules that are just needed. Those are sort of like a rundown list of the modules that we have in design right now and what we're working on and what we've keyed on from the begin with. But of course, as future development goes and we target new areas and new needs, definitely look into what kind of development we're going to do to meet that. And retailers will be able to purchase only those modules they want and need to run their business. So if a retailer only needs Retail Pro to handle point of sale, transactions, and customer management, you can simply purchase the point of sale module. But On the other hand, if a retailer needs a full retail management system, they may need to add the store operations and back office related modules as well. Another key differentiator for Prism is that it's going to be accessible across all platforms. So kind of clear that up a little bit. It's right now with Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9. We're looking. This is they're primarily just Windows-based systems, but and like those products, Retail Pro Prism can be installed on any Windows-based computer system, including Windows tablets. But now, in addition to Windows-based machines, Retail Pro Prism can be accessed via any internet browser. What this means is that you can use Prism on almost any hardware device that can access a web browser. To date, we've been using Prism and we've been testing it on Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, and Safari, which we've kind of targeted as the top 4 internet browsers out there. We've been able to access Prism via web browser on iPads as well as Android tablets, and we think this is a pretty big deal. Being able to being available through any web browser effectively makes Prism a mobile point-of-sale system that is every bit as powerful as the desktop version. And the important thing to consider this too is, and the graphic there that you see right there is it's a mock-up, but it's absolutely indicative of what the truth is that when you're using Prism on a browser, you have the same interface, the same workflow, and the same user experience. It's consistent across all platforms. So whether you're accessing the program directly through the Windows executable, or if you're accessing Prism through a browser, it's the same system, regardless. And because it's consistent across all platforms, there's no need for additional employee training. You don't have to train employees to use the desktop or the point-of-sale version, and then have to do separate training so they can learn the mobile version as well. It's the same experience. So just one training thing and one sense of familiarity. In fact, actually, employees are more productive when they realize that their point-of-sale system isn't tied to the counter, but it's now available to them wherever and whenever they need it. Whether they're on the sales floor assisting customers or doing line breaking work, or if they're in the back room checking stock levels or sales activity, the system can travel with them. And in fact, here's a photograph from the most recent NRF show this year, and you can see we have right there in the center on an ELL Touch point of sale machine, Retail Pro Prism running, and then we have a selection of different tablet types surrounding it, including the iPad, which is just one of the things we want to demonstrate, that this is the same interface all the way around. One of the next benefits to using Retail Pro Prism is that it runs extremely well on lower performing hardware, which this is something that was very important to us. Prism's been engineered to work well on all hardware systems, from the cutting-edge tablets and all-in-one POS systems and touch computers to older POS units as well. We understand that a lot of retailers may have existing systems, and when existing into a new point-of-sale system or new software, purchasing new hardware is not always in a budget, and so this enables you to work with your existing systems. If you want to be more specific, for more technical-minded, Prism's minimum hardware requirements are simply a 1 gigahertz processor of some type. We're not specific. We've been testing on different processors. Only 1 gigabytes of RAM. Very small memory requirements, and the disk space requires only 100 megabytes of disk space. So, really, it's tremendously non-invasive or non-intensive to your machines. And again, with these low demands on hardware, the retailer is free to reuse existing legacy systems that they may have already invested in to save money, or at the same time, if new hardware is needed, gosh, you have so much more flexibility at this point. You're not tied to purchasing or looking at specific high-end machines or anything like that. You have the flexibility, or retailers have the flexibility, to base their buying decisions on more than just the function. They can look at form factor. They have a particular brand preference. it's got a lot of flexibility and a lot of different options in mind. And if you want to use iPads on the sales floor with a full-blown all-in-one POS unit at the counter, no problem. Retail Pro Prism will enjoy that as well. One of the next key benefits that we target with using Prism is its highly customizable interface. Now, currently, with Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9, users can quickly and easily customize the user interface using various screen design tools available to them. You can add remove data fields, manipulate menu toolbars, reformat field labels, change the background image, create user-specific screen designs, and much, much more. If anybody who's been working with Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9 for a while, they understand a lot of these different customization options that we have. And empowering as these tools are for Retail Pro, any Retail Pro user, at the same time, these customizations have always been limited to what the tools were designed to do and what the tools allow them to do. And they may not be able to do everything, and they may not have been designed to allow you to do everything that you want to do or want to have with your POS system. The great thing is with Prism, there really are no limitations. The user interface will be able to be manipulated using a similar set of screen design tools. So if you're familiar, again, with those tools, with Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9, like Page Manager and Page Designer, there's going to be similar tools like that for Prism for you to work with. However, if users are wishing to do more or have a more direct influence on how the workflow is, you're not limited to those tools anymore. The Prism interface is created using a combination of XML and CSS for browser-based clients, or XML and CSS for the native or Windows-based client. What that basically means is that there's really nothing stopping the user from completely overhauling the UI by directly manipulating the code or writing it from scratch. So in essence, if you can manage your point of sale screen as a web page, you can create a Retail Pro Prism interface with the same look and feel. So this is we're really excited about this. We're excited about everything actually, but really this is really, really cool. If the retailer chooses, you can treat the interface as a blank slate, and you can create a design that's relevant, that's easy to use and train, at the same time also attractive and visually consistent with your brand. This we've got a few sample screens right here. These are just a few little mock-ups that we've done. Right here, this first screen is just our stock screen, which is how Prism comes with right out of the box. And but there's a lot of different options you can have. This is a quick mock-up that we did for, as you can see, using for a Ferrari store, and different thing for health, Comvita, chocolate, Victorinox, very similar to our stock one. There's a different one for ISC. For me, that's one of the really cool things. I think it's really cool when I go to a store and I see on the retail system, I see the whole store brand right there. Everything's branded all the way down to the screen. It just makes for me at least as a consumer, that there's a feel like the store that I'm at is just like fully invested in everything, and when you see everything integrated, not just from the product all the way down to the POS system as well. I think that's kind of neat. But anyway, yeah, those designs that I just showed you, you notice that they range from extremely simple one-page designs to more complex ones, and those are really just examples, just scratching the surface. There's nothing super creative. But like I said, however anybody can imagine it is, because every retailer does business differently. That's one of the key things. It's one of the key presets we had in Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9, which is allowing the retailer the freedom to do business the way they do business, and we've only taken that a step further with Retail Pro Prism. Now, number 5, this next part, related to Prism's highly customizable interface, which talks about its flexibility. Prism was also built with extensibility in mind. Now, this is really nothing new. Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9 were also designed with extensibility, and Historically, Retail Pro products typically have had robust feature sets, but they've never been able to meet all of the needs of each and every retailer. So users needing a specific set of features or functions that aren't part of the core system can always expand or enhance the system. And with Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9, plugins, which were usually written in Delphi or Visual Basic or C, were created to add additional features and functions. And so, a lot of you may be familiar with the different plugins. We've always had plugins that we've developed plugins for these systems in-house, which were available for purchase separately. And several of our business partners have developed plugins as well. With Prism, scripts can be created to accomplish the same thing. And the great thing about Prism is Prism actually gives you even more options for writing these scripts. That's because Prism supports a large number of Windows scripting languages that can be used to write the scripts. So, if you're using Pascal, JScript, Visual Basic, Rex, Basic, Perl, Ruby, TCL, PHP, JavaScript, Python, and because these are the most common used in popular programming languages, you may have employees with the know-how already. And by being able to extend the number of different scripting languages, you can easily hire staff who have experience with one of those programming languages. One of the obvious benefits to writing custom scripts for Prism is the ability to customize the workflow. So instead of having one POS screen where you add customers or scan in items and tender the sale, you can create scripts that would essentially walk the cashier through the entire sales transaction. By adding a customer first, scanning items next, and applying any discounts to the items onto the tendering and giving change back to the customer. You can even pull data into Prism from an external source. For example, by default, Prism will look to RP9 when looking up customers, but instead you can write a script to have Prism look up customers on an external database or a CRM system. Speaking of customers, maybe it's useful to have a sales associate to have a listing of items previously purchased by a customer the moment the customer is listed right on the POS screen. This would allow the employee to provide more relevant recommendations and assistance to the customer, and it's especially useful in Retail Pro settings or retail settings where consultations are commonplace or where a personalized customer experience is key, like a cosmetics counter or a fashion boutique. Maybe you'd like to write a script that checks the stock levels of the listed item company-wide, or maybe a script that displays cross-selling opportunities. All this is possible in Retail Pro Prism using basic scripting. And those are just a few examples on how you might want to use scripting to change your workflow. Again, however any retailer wants to change their workflow, it's possible. Next thing I want to talk about is real-time tracking. Currently, with Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9, we have communication systems in place for tracking changes and transactions. With the Retail Pro 8 database, it's a little bit of a more intensive system, which is always accompanied with evening polling. So usually a lot of tracking was done in the evenings when stores were closed. With Retail Pro 9 and its Oracle database, that gave us the opportunity to change that. The Oracle database has always been much more robust, and so in that particular case, we've been able to set polling up so that information can poll between businesses on the fly while everybody is still accessing the system. And this was really great, and but usually, it still wasn't real time, definitely in Retail Pro 9. There was still a process that needed to be done where data was collected and prepared for processing and then sent via the internet to the different stores and to a head office just for dissemination. And we've got some, like I said, it's definitely not real time, but we've certainly got some clients out there using Retail Pro who've got it pretty close. Usually like about every 15 minutes or so, data would be sent. With Prism, that sort of tracking is a completely new system. It's completely different from before. If any of you are familiar, like I said, like with using RSS feeds, for example, if you like to gather information from the web using an RSS reader, this is kind of something similar to that. In the particular case, you'd have one system set up as a publisher and another system set up as a reader, and you would then subscribe to that publisher the information that you would want to receive. And again, this is, I have to tell you, it's still not real time, but it's it's certainly really close. I mean, it's about as real time as, again, if you're familiar with RSS feeds, it's about as real time as something like that, where someone who runs a blog publishes an article that gets disseminated to all the different subscribers. This is the same kind of thing, and we'll be looking at that too later on. I'll be able to show you a demonstration of that, see how that works. This allows you just to be able to check out stock levels really quick, run reports really quick. If you have a main central office that is set up as a subscriber to all of your stores which are publishing information, then you're going to be receiving that data on the fly as it goes. Now, I talked a little bit just at that last moment, talked about a couple of the different databases in mind. Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9 have used different types of databases. With Retail Pro Prism, you're going to get your choice. With Retail Pro Prism, you get to choose the database, the data repository that stores the data that's being accessed by Prism. By default, Retail Pro 9 with its embedded Oracle database will be used as the data repository for Prism. And for retailers who are already on Retail Pro 9, that's probably the way to go. But Prism also has built-in support for Microsoft SQL Server. So if you have retailers that are if you're a retailer that is primarily an SQL house, then this is obviously a really great option. And other systems that Prism will work with systems like a MS SQL Server. But now Retail Pro can be using SQL Server as well. MySQL will also be supported by Retail Pro Prism, so this is a great low-cost open source database option. So if you're an open source kind of guy, then or gal, pardon me, then MySQL would be a great option, and Prism supports that right out of the box. These are the three databases that this is built in for support for. But if you have your very own in-house proprietary database that you want to use, that this is required, then all's not lost. You just will need to build a custom interface to allow Prism to use that data repository. So it's entirely possible. So ultimately with Prism, it really is up to you to determine where your data is housed. Okay. So all those different sections, that's the Retail Pro Prism value proposition in a nutshell. It's designed to be modular, so you can need to buy only those modules that you need to run your business. It's going to be available across all platforms, from desktop to mobile devices and tablets. And again, that's the same interface, the same workflow, and the same interface, same experience. It will run on most hardware systems because it has a very low demand on hardware and takes up very little space. And running Retail Pro Prism on older legacy POS units will not be a problem. And at the same time, you can feel free to buy less powerful and cheaper hardware systems and tablets knowing they'll support Prism just fine. The interface is 100% customizable. You'll be able to use our built-in screen tools or manipulate the underlying XML or HTML and CSS code, and the sky's the limit on how you want your interface to look. And again, because Retail Pro Prism was built with extensibility in mind, you have a tremendous amount of control over how it behaves. You can leverage commonly used programming languages to write scripts, control the workflow, access external data sources, do whatever's needed to tailor Prism to how you run your business. Again, we've got real-time data access, so using the subscriber system, different Retail Pro systems will be subscribing, and you'll have data much faster than with the old polling system. And then lastly, with Prism, you choose what database to use. It's got built-in support for the RP9 embedded Oracle database, Microsoft SQL Server, and MySQL. Or you can create an interface to have Prism work with your own proprietary database. Okay, so following that up, I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing a little bit of demo for you all. Let's see. And right here, this is our point of sale module. This is the only module that I'm going to be demoing for you today. And the point of sale module includes point of sale functions and customer management. And remember, this is what it looks like right out of the box. You know, we all over here at Retail Pro, we love blue. So we keep things blue. But again, you know, this is these buttons, these graphics, even just this this hover change. You know, if you want to change it, you know, like I said, we're going to have the tools that are available, or you can change the code and change the workflow and everything like that. You know, it's certainly not wedded to this design. So real quick, I'm just going to go over a few of the features that's in this. You know, again, if you're familiar with Retail Pro and Retail Pro 8 and 9, you know, a lot of the things are very similar. So, you know, you're not going to really see anything new or amazing. But I just want to take some time to show you just a couple of things. One of the big changes here, if you look on here, you'll notice that with Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9, when you list items in the interface, usually you list them in the main screen. We've replaced that with Retail Pro Prism with an item lookup box right here. So in this particular case, everything gets added there instead of having to track to the field that's on the item list view. So you can just start scanning items, or in my case, typing them in, and pull it up like that. Now, again, talking about customization, this particular listing right here that you see now, that is fully customizable as well. With Retail Pro 8 and 9, they were always presented in a line, and you were able to select which data fields. And this is similar to that. You know, still able to select the data fields that you want to have, but now you can really decide how you want to have them displayed. If you want to have one line, if you want to have 2 lines, if you want to have 6 lines, it's up to you. We've got a nice little listing here where things are just kind of bundled up here in 2 different lines. But it's up to you how you want to go ahead and list those. But other than that, everything works pretty much the same. At the end, you can tender the transaction, take the amount. Retail Pro will always suggest the change, and you can update and move on to the next transaction. You can always enter customers, doing a customer search if you want to set up for customers, customer searching. At the same time, when you're doing a point of sale, you can always just do the quick customer function. And then move forward from there. If ever you want to change your sale type, you can just do from a sale to a return. Those options are available for you. We have them as little buttons right here. But again, remember, I like to stress every time, this is fully customizable, so you're never wedded to this interface at all. Let's go ahead and back out. We still got the standard Retail Pro button, but now in this particular case with Prism, instead of just being a default back button, you're given a quick navigation menu. This is customer lookup. Remember, we entered that customer during a quick customer lookup. And so now that customer is automatically saved in our database. We did a quick customer and added them to the system. You can always select customer, pull up the customer profile. If you ever want to enter a new customer, you can always do that as well. You can see this is just the same interface. But again, you know, you don't need to do this. This is great for when you're entering customers. But maybe at point of sale, you don't want to track all this information. So you could have one larger interface for here at point of sale. You could have just quick information, just the basics, or have them both the same. Again, customizable, so it's up to you. You can always do a quick transaction lookup. Let's go ahead and check our transactions for today. Here they are. Here's transaction number 12 that we just performed over here. Let's go ahead and remember that transaction number. Quickly go to New Transaction. Process that as a return, customer last name, or you can search by document number. Here's our transaction right here. And we can quickly return the item. And we're done. Return to document. Tender transaction. We took cash last time, so we're just going to go ahead and give cash this time again. And again, moving on to the next transaction. And again, that was just a sample workflow that we have out of the box. You can always do something different. Point of sale module is also going to include all of the other options that we used to see before, such as disbursements. If you're going to do a cash drop, always pop the cash drawer. Everybody's cash drawer pop over there? Okay, I'm sorry, that was kind of a dumb joke. X-out reports are available. Here's everything that we've done today already. We can print it out from here. And again, you know, this is just a basic 8.5 by 11 sheet layout right here, but you can change it however you need it if you want to do your X-outs on a printer. Changing tills is really quick and easy. Here's something that I didn't show. I'm going to show you something else on that really quick. This is the pending transaction screen. So for this screen, just in case if any transaction has been put on hold, or maybe the system went down while you were in the middle of a transaction, those transactions get saved in the pending transaction screen. And if I didn't show you guys that earlier, let's just go ahead and exit out really quick and relaunch Prism. One of the things that we have set up here is that pending transaction screen. And we have that pop up right at the beginning, so that if there are any transactions that need to be dealt with right at the beginning of the day, as soon as you launch it, those are presented to you. Let's go ahead and go launch over Retail Pro 9. Remember, I was talking earlier about subscriptions. And we look here. Here's the receipts that we just made. Here's our bill to customer, Bruce Wayne, that we added. Here's the return that we did. And that's just a quick example I wanted to show you about how subscriptions work. It's really fantastic. There's the information right there. So again, if you have several locations that are running Retail Pro Prism and tracking all those those transactions, if you have an installation of another system at a remote office or a head office somewhere, you can make that head office subscribers to all those transactions, and they'll show up in your system. Like I said, not real time. It doesn't happen instantly. There's still got to be a little bit of communication happening, but we're really happy and really proud of this system because it's something that really the only way you can get closer to real time is to actually be at the location that the transactions are happening at. So it's we're really, really excited about this. Yep. Didn't mean to go all the way to the beginning of the slideshow again. If you want to see those screen designs again really quick. Like I said, it ranges from complex to simple. Just some simple mock-ups we did. We changed a lot of the buttons as well, so you can see we want to have different button types. I'm sorry, I thought there was a slide that said questions. So anyway, yeah, if anybody has any questions now, that's what I'm going to go ahead and turn to for this part of the the webinar. So again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and use the raise hand feature. If you use the raise hand feature, I'll go ahead and I will take you off of mute, and you can ask your question. Or if you want to go ahead and type it into the questions section or the chat section, that's usually easiest. We can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start here with Bilal Iqbal. I'm going to go ahead and take you off of mute. And how do you do today, Bilal?
Hi, my name is Bilal. I'm from System Plus Pakistan.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much for the knowledgeable webinar. I have got a couple of questions.
Okay. If you, please, Bilal, if you could speak up just a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me right now?
Oh, yes, I can hear you a little more clearly. Thank you.
The first question is about the choice of databases.
Yes.
I just want to know that what about installation of Retail Pro Prism with 8 or 9? We must have 8 or 9 in background running. Is it true?
Yeah, at this moment right now, what I just demonstrated for you was the Retail Pro point of sale module. And that was accessing data from a Retail Pro 8 installation at the time.
Right.
So you know, at that time it was using, or excuse me, not 8. I'm so sorry, Retail Pro 9, and so it was accessing that Oracle database. But again, Retail Pro Prism is going to have access. It's going to have built-in support for MS SQL and MySQL. So you have choice of those 3 databases out of the box. And again, because it's accessing, I want to get away actually a little bit right now and say from the Retail Pro 9 database, and specifically called an Oracle database, because that's what it is. It's an embedded Oracle database. So certainly, you know, if you have another Oracle database set up, you know, it's easy to get Prism to interface with that as well. You know, if you're not using the Retail Pro 9 embedded Oracle database.
Okay, that's mean that we must be having Retail Pro 9 in background running, but of course in Retail 9 we have embedded database as Oracle. So what if we want to connect MySQL or SQL database? So we need to install a different instance of database, and Retail Pro Prism gave us the opportunity to connect to that database.
Yeah, it just depends on which database you want to use. You know, you have a central database, and really, I mean, as far as I'm thinking about it, you know, when you're working with Retail Pro Prism, like I said, you're just selecting the database that you want it to attach you. I don't really think there's any reason why at different locations couldn't have different databases.
All right. So the next question is about the workstation preferences. Like when we would be setting the workstation preferences in Retail Pro Prism.
Right, yeah, at this time I don't have a preference setting set up right now. It's just what you can see right there. Like I said, that's just the point of sale module. You know, but definitely there will be, you know, as you have more modules go down, the settings will be, it's going to be a little bit different.
All right, so same workstation setting we need to set on the Retail Pro 9, and that setting will be applicable on Prism?
You know, no, I mean, it won't be quite like that.
It will be different, like setting up the printer on it, or customized designs.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. So, I mean, what are you asking specifically about the settings? You know, is there going to be a similar tree interface like you're asking about, or?
Just I was asking about the connecting of receipt printers and
oh, okay.
design.
Well, yeah, absolutely. There's going to be, you know, the interface for connecting to receipt printers and other hardware as well. You know, I don't have that to demonstrate for you right now.
Okay, so if we install Retail Pro Prism on our mobile phone, and as it is a thin application, so the selection of the printer will be the same. Like it will be, of course, connected to some physical hardware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it could be hardware connected, and depending on what hardware you're using, there might be a certain amount of custom program that needs to be that would need to be written to attach to that hardware.
Right, and then same like customization which you have told me, like when we use the page designers and page managers in Retail Pro 9, same is available in Retail Pro Prism as well.
There are going to be similar tools. They won't be exactly the same as like Page Manager and Page Designer, but there will be a similar set of tools to allow you to do page designs.
Right, that's great. And one thing which I haven't seen, just missed maybe, like the functionality and availability of option of making sale orders, which we use in POS system right now, which we are using.
Yeah,
Is there any option?
there'll definitely be a sales order function.
Yeah, definitely, right.
Mhm.
So one last question is that does it require internet or intranet or like this one, any networks?
Uh, Internet or intranet for what specifically? I mean, if you are going to be using setting up the subscription system like I demonstrated, then yeah, there's going to need to be some sort of internet connection, just like ECM does for Retail Pro 9.
All right. So in that one, like we have to install a separate hardware on the shop location, which we will be communicating with through ECM with the main server.
Okay, yeah, then I mean, it would work similar, probably, wherever the database is housed. But yeah, now setting up the subscription system, yeah, it's going to require some kind of communication.
Right, excellent. So one more last question about the Retail Pro Prism is that is there any demonstration or trial available for this one?
Yeah, there is you can get one to download.
All right. So where I can find it?
If you want to go ahead and oh, my email isn't on this uh, particular thing, but hey, if you want to go ahead and email us at training@retailpro.com, I can get you that. I'll send you a link to that.
All right. Thanks. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for it.
You're very welcome, Bilal. Okay, the other person with a hand raised is Fred Kerr. Hello, Fred. How are you doing today?
I am. Oh, hello. Hello. I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, hi, James. Again, thank you very much. I do want to just preface this that I don't really know anything about Prism.
Okay.
We are using V8, and we're working with RES, and we're a franchise organization, and we have like 550 stores here in the United States, and so I want to give you a bit of background before I ask all these questions.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And I have 8 questions here.
Okay.
So the first one to me is, can you speak to PCI compliance on this system? Because I know that, how about processing credit cards on the mobile device? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because our franchise model, we do have retail, but we also have something what we're looking at pursuing as a virtual store. And a virtual store for us is someone who can walk around with a mobile POS system. And I'm saying, okay, so I'm looking at other mobile POS platforms, but I said, well, Prism is something from Retail Pro, and we're using Retail Pro. And the first thing you're telling me right off the bat is that this is not even like V8 and V9. So in some respects, I'm saying, oh, okay, so that's sort of disappointing. So, but now, because we can have retailers in our stores that can actually buy, a virtual store as well. There's multi-store owners out there. They could do that as well. And it says, oh my gosh, now they have to learn 2 different things. But so that's either here nor there in some respects. But I'm saying if you're using this Prism as this mobile device, I mean, can you process credit card orders? Is this PCI compliant? And there's this new thing that even Retail Pro, the newsletter that lately came out with EMV and smart card use. I mean, so how is that going to be entailed in Prism, or is it?
Right. I know it's part of the design in Prism. I can't answer that question exactly because I haven't seen credit card processing with hardware devices. But certainly there's already, for mobile devices, there's already a slew of different types of reading devices. So in that particular case, there may be, again, a certain amount of programming that's required in order to make it work with that particular device. Just me myself, I've seen, and I'm always actually pretty excited when I go someplace and I see places using iPads as cash registers. I think that's really cool. I said
That is
now,
cool.
yeah,
That is cool.
and not just even in a mobile fashion like you're discussing with people walking around, but I see them practically built into stands now where it's completely replaced the initial screen. And in fact, I was actually just at State Fair this weekend, our California State Fair, and you know we bought a giant turkey leg, just to eat, walk around the State Fair with this turkey leg, and there at the stand, they had that thing set up already, with iPads, and I immediately wanted to ask people questions like, hey, wow, what kind of software you're using and how it interfaces with that hardware, because I'm really interested in it as well, because like we're just saying, there's already a slew of different types of hardware for reading those devices. So in that particular case, with Prism and its extensibility, is there may be some programming that's required on your side. Maybe not
to accept credit cards.
Well, no, not to accept credit cards, just to work with that particular piece of hardware. Certainly to accept credit cards, not at all. We have you're talking about the newsletter that you recently saw with smart cards, right, and that detailed, with the Genius device and our new provider, Merchant Warehouse. So certainly there would be services provided through that interface.
Okay, and it's because it seems to me that being a mobile device, I can understand how this will work with an all-in-one. So my question number 2 is, I understand how this can work with all-in-one POS hardware, which is what we have. And in some respects, like you were saying, could even replace it, which is I'm going to get to later on in another question. But it's like there's the scanner, there's that MSR, MagStripe reader, there's the street printer, there's this thing that this Genius device. So what you're saying is that there are things today that for Prism that you recommend as the standard offering for such peripherals, or no?
Oh, I'm not sure if we have a specific set of hardware recommendations. I mean, certainly with 8 and 9, we've had some hardware recommendations, and we've made those recommendations simply because those are devices that we've actually had in-house that we've tested, and that's where those recommendations come from, because this is something that we directly say like, yes, we've absolutely tested with these products, and we can easily support on these products because we can go grab it and plug it in and verify. But that's certainly not to say that Retail Pro 8 and Retail Pro 9 have not been compatible with other similar hardware devices. A lot of scanners have all been just like simple keyboard interface emulators. And certainly you could use any of those with Retail Pro. And
I guess we would work with our VAR here. I mean, we would work with RIS and maybe setting something up, because they have to support it.
Right, and that's one of the huge benefits of the business partner program that our basic business model, because you've always been able to get customized on-site support from that business partner who knows your area, knows your business, they're familiar and intimate with you. I've had occasion to go visit customer sites with business partners, and I've always really impressed by that sort of value level that comes from this sort of intimacy that we wouldn't be able to provide for you.
Right, great. So I'm going to go to question 3, and I guess I want to move a little bit quickly because I don't want to hog everyone's time up. But my third question is, how does this work in a multi-store environment? So how does Prism work? Do you have a main remote configuration like what we currently set up now with our stores? We have like 4 stores, 5 stores, and they have a main and they have 4 remotes. Do you have a configuration like that with Prism?
It could certainly work that way. If you want to. Right now, all I demonstrated was the point of sale module. So in this particular case, these are thin client modules that you're using to access the database, and certainly the idea of main and remote, especially with the subscriber system, it becomes a little bit different. You're no longer setting up with mains and remotes, but more setting up systems as subscribers. So you would have a singular database at, I don't want to use the word main because I don't want to kind of confuse nomenclature, but a head office would be a better example. So you would have a head office that,
So you'd have a head office, so a store owner who has 4 other stores, and he manages his other stores through his main today in our environment, so he can change pricing. It goes down to his other stores. But you do the same thing because it's up in the cloud anyway, right? So it's just he sets this up. It's that main office that you're talking about, or the head office, and then the other ones connect up and use that
Yeah,
particular
because
database. Okay,
yeah, because really, like they said, with Retail Pro 9, and did you say you were an 8 user right now?
yeah, we're V8, and we're about to implement V9, a V9 server, and then once we have implemented that, then we're going to go out into each of our stores. We have a couple hundred stores. We have to go to each one and upgrade them to V9, so it's going to be a painful process, store by store.
Probably not too painful.
Well, the question I really have going into this, James, is does it make sense then to, and that's question number 4, does it make sense for us to look at a Prism and upgrade, just like what you're talking, replace this whole hardware with this lower hardware cost and put that in and then upgrade, because then do you offer such an upgrade conversion, and or does it affect licensing? Because nope, you can't even use that V8. It's like you'd be throwing that away. Is there anything like that to offer?
Not really. You want to change. If you're upgrading to V9 right now, then that's really what you need to do to get ready for Prism installation.
But then V9's not, to get ready for a Prism, because the way I look at Prism, it's a mobile solution. V9 is not right? That's not a V9. That's what Prism is all about.
V9 can be a mobile solution if you do the screen designs right. It's not very mobile friendly out of the box, for sure. But I mean, we certainly have people using V9 on mobile interface devices, but it's just not as flexible.
Okay.
As Retail Pro Prism is going to be.
All right, thanks. And now I saw that you have a customer management piece, and we didn't really go over that. Is that similar to like Zoho? I mean, because otherwise I was thinking, do you integrate, because we're looking at integrating our system with Zoho or something like that, which provides CRM capability. So, drip email campaigns against customers looking at buying habits when they last purchase, what kind of products they're using, so that we can sort of like reach out and touch them on a more active basis. Do you have anything like that, like basic CRM in this system? Or
yeah, I did go over it really quick, just kind of showing the customer module, because really it's not much to see as far as like customer management. There's lookup, there's things for tracking customers and customer history and customer lookup, like I showed you.
But not email campaigns that we can deliver to customers who haven't purchased anything in the last 2 months. Because we want
not in the customer management module. And if you have an existing CRM system, then yeah, it's certainly.
We would just then need to integrate.
You would just need to integrate. But I was just thinking right now, if you're upgrading from 8 to 9, there's some wonderful customer tools in 9 series. You'll be really interested in things like our bidding and scoring for targeting particular customers. Like I was just saying, for mailers and things like that, and look for particular customers and be able to search, based on their spending habits.
Right.
And then be able to target mailers to specific customers based on spending habits and things like that.
Right. So it's almost like the way you're telling me, it's like, should we even pursue Prism? Because it seems like, we might as well just stay with V9. Is that almost like what I'm hearing? It's like, it's not like for something for us at this point in time.
If you're upgrading to V9, then you'll be already all set with the database.
But that's the thing is, that's the plan for Q4, but we're saying we could stop that right now. All we're trying to do is actually implement the V9 server. That's why I'd rather stop at the altar. I mean, and before the wedding starts, then go in and then say, oh my gosh, we could have had, we used to say fun before we would say, we could have had a V8. In this case, we say, we could have had a Prism.
Yeah. Or if you're like me, if you're kind of an Apple guy, and you purchase an Apple product, and they always have amazing upgrades that always seem to come out right after you purchase the product.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to be in that boat. I mean, we're still in a position where we don't have to. Maybe what I'll do is I'll have a more detailed discussion with our reps at RES. So I have one last question here.
Sure.
And then we go we also have Accounting Link that hooks up QuickBooks. Does this Prism have the same kind of capability to hook up to our QuickBooks for?
Well, when you're using QuickBooks is interfacing with the database. So it's roughly something like that. Remember this what I showed you today, the point of sale module with Prism isn't the database on its own. It's the interface that you're using. And this is what I was going to say. If you wanted to use Prism for the point of sale portion, you can absolutely do that.
Okay.
I know
Okay.
that's not quite your
Yeah.
accounting link question, but
Well,
I mean, but
okay,
it's
but it is a database, is what you're
yes,
saying.
yeah,
So,
database interface, and that's what you're doing when you're with accounting link. You know, you're pulling over to the database and pulling that data over into QuickBooks.
okay, very good. All right, James. Well, thank you very much for the demo and the information. It's very informative. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
you're very welcome, Fred. I'm glad you were able to attend,
All right.
and thank you for all the interesting questions.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, we've had a couple more raised hands, but we also had a couple of questions come in through the chat function. So let me go ahead if you and address those right now. There's a question here. Aaron Franz has a question. So can we detail how we might use V9 at our corporate headquarters and Prism at the store level, and what limitations might be arise from a setup like that? You know, it's using V9 at a corporate level, that would be really similar to what I showed you right there with the subscriptions, where I made a couple of sales in Prism and then saw them pulled over, or not pulled over, but subscribed to the that Retail Pro 9 installation. You can certainly have something like that where that V9 installation at your corporate headquarters might be a subscriber to all of your stores that are using Prism. But remember, what's going on is that this Prism, this point of sale module, is accessing the database. So certainly data is being pulled back and forth. And at this time, this Retail Pro Prism module was accessing the Oracle database that comes with an RP9 installation, but it's not wedded to that database. So if you have a different database that you're using to track and handle all that information, then Prism can interface with that database and then set up as a subscriber. All of those transactions would be sent to that corporate level. I'm not sure what kind of limitations, though, really arise from that. That's it. I see you've also got your hand raised, Aaron. So if you want, I'm going to go ahead and take you off of mute. And then if we want to talk about that further, since you updated your question here, we can have a discussion about that.
Sure.
Okay, Aaron, so I've got you off mute.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry. So I guess my question is more about, I mean, you spoke to more of the point of sale with Prism. As far as sort of the back end, the creation of POs and just the inventory management that we do at the corporate level, how does that, if we were to say, because we've just recently moved to version 9 and, sort of working with that and sort of implementing Prism at the store level, are those seamless, so to speak, or can you touch on that?
Yeah, I can talk about that. I mean, right now I demonstrated the point of sale modules because primarily that's what I have to demo for you. But again, something like purchasing would be part of the back office module.
Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, that would be something that would be.
I guess, but as far as like say we're comfortable with V9 now, and we want to start like implementing, say, Prism at a store level, sort of maybe trial basis, see how that rolls out, and then with the idea that ultimately rolling out to all of our stores, does it make sense to remain at the corporate level with version 9, and is there sort of seamless functionality? And I mean, it sounds like, you're mentioning just accessing the database. I mean, we'd just be updating our database, so to speak.
Right, and if you wanted to start doing, like I said, if you're a V9 custom user right now, then yeah, having Prism at the stores, especially starting out with, you can actually run it alongside if you want, because it's going to access the database, and then it would be set up as a subscriber, so you could go to the V9 and actually see those transactions come over right away.
Okay.
But as far as having a corp, if we're comfortable doing business like that way, that's perfectly great. Because again, like I said at the beginning, V9 is a completely everything in the box solution.
Right.
And so yeah, if you're using that with your business, then certainly you don't want to make any drastic changes right away. But then if you want to use Prism at your stores, like you want to go ahead and change it because it is so customizable and flexible, and allows for a lot of things. Like I say, V9 can certainly be set up using the page design functions to be used on mobile platforms, but it's not particularly friendly. While Prism, on the other hand, you'll be able to.
Okay, all right. And then, one other sort of question has Prism been released yet, or when is that planned? And if it has, how many clients do you have using it?
Right now at this time, we have one client, one beta installation that's using it.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, it hasn't been released yet. It's not yet for sale. But we have one beta client who's been using it, and they've been using it for about a month now. They've been using the point of sale module, so they've been using those point of sale functions.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I had another question from Andrea. Oh, but she's left, unfortunately. Let's see, but will it be possible to use Prism on a POS station and a headquarters main with version 8.6 with an external MS SQL database? That's to answer that question for everybody else. Again, and I think it might be. I've talked a little bit about how Prism is very flexible with the type of database that you use. Like I said, so if you're using an external MS SQL database, then certainly you can use Prism Prism on that database. The database that comes with 8 series is a little bit different. 8 series is a much older product now, which uses a flat file database. That's not something that Retail Pro Prism is going to be able to access out of the box. Probably, yeah, definitely with an 8 series main, you'd want to upgrade that at least to Retail Pro 9. So there would be an Oracle database. Let's see. So there's no other questions on the chat version this time. Bilal Iqbal has raised his hand again, so I'm going to go ahead and take you off mute again, Bilal, and then you can go ahead. And you're off mute now.
Sorry, I have asked all of my questions. I haven't raised hand again. And it's loaded.
Oh, okay. So okay, I've answered your questions. And okay, thank you very much. Okay, so so at this time, see, I'm not having any more questions in chat. If anybody else has any more questions, I'm here at your disposal. So I'm just going to wait a few moments here. You can feel free to type your question in or use the raise hand function. Okay, and let's see. Then, with no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. I hope it was really interesting and informative, everybody. I appreciate everybody's questions, and I appreciate your attention today. It's Thursday, so we've got one more day. I hope everybody has a nice weekend ahead of them, and take care. Again, thank you very, very much for attending. It's been great. I really like talking about Prism. I'm really excited about everything that it has to offer. Again, I've been working in the industry for a few years, and one of the things that really excites me is when I see other systems at places and I see what a great product we really have here. It makes me really excited. So with Retail Pro Prism, when we're taking our current product and really improving on it in so many different facets, I get really excited. So anyway, appreciate you listening to me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend ahead of you. Thank you very much.